Hello, everyone. Today is January 25th, 2024. This is the Kubernetes SIG meeting. Today, we're going to go over 1.30 planning spreadsheet. And then there are a couple of issues we want to go over. The deadline, the next one is production readiness freeze deadline is coming February 1st, that's next Thursday. So if you have a feature that it's opt-in, please make sure to fill out the production readiness review section in your CAP and make sure that is ready for the review. And then the feature freeze is 1 week after that, February 8th. So let's go over the spreadsheet. Okay, let's just go over those items that we're targeting for 1.30. If there are anything that you want to target for 1.30 but it's not here, please add it to the spreadsheet. The first one is recovery from resize failure. Do we have Hermand here? Okay, so this one we are staying in alpha. There may be API changes needed for this. Let me just add a column here. So command is not here, we'll just say update. And the next one, okay, one group API. Okay, so this one we continue to work on finishing the implementation in the sidecars. So there's still one thing pending, so it should be soon. And the next one is provision volumes from cross namespace snapshot PVC. Continue design work. Do we have any update on this? Is Michelle on the call? All right, so okay, I'll just say no update. Next one is CSI volume health. Okay, so this is the one that we need to add into it as okay, I still need to pin the person who was working on this, but have not got any update. So no update. I'll need to check on this. Next one, change block tracking. So this one we are trying to target alpha in 1.30 release. So we did talk about this in the DP working group meeting yesterday. So I think the review is still ongoing. I don't know if Ben, do you have any update on this? Is it Ben here? Oh, looks like Ben has not joined yet. Okay, so Ben is going to take another look of the CSI spec PR, and if it's good, then he will add the look good to me. Then we also need to get James to take another look. The CSI spec PR and also CAP. I do have a question regarding this one, regarding the repo, so I can talk about it later after we have gone through the spreadsheet. Next one is enable privileged containers for Windows to replace its proxy. This is design. Manu, do you have an update on this?
Yeah, so we are wrapping up some work, and I think we may be able to pick this up probably sometime in February. So not sure how much time we'll be able to spend on it right away, but we do want to get this done. So it is on our radar.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that update. And next one is secure Linux relabeling using mount options. Yang, you have some update.
I updated the tracking issue. And I filed a PR to update the cap. And I would appreciate reviews.
Okay. I'll take a look. So yeah, how do you check this? Okay. Well, maybe we just yeah, that's the tricky thing. Should we maybe we should add another? Okay, maybe we just copy this one, right? So because this one stays.
Okay, yeah, we can split it into read to write one spot and all the other volumes.
Let's see if I insert.
I already updated the issue, the tracking issue, to show clearly right.
Okay, so maybe I'll just copy copy this. Let's see. Okay, so let's say the first one is for the old issues. What do we say?
Read to write one spot.
One spot. Okay.
RWOP.
This is for. All right, so let's do that, and then the second one.
All the other access modes.
All other. Say access modes other than right. That's hard for me. All right. Okay. So now this one we should say alpha, right? We say alpha.
Yep.
Alpha. Yeah. Yeah, we may be a little confusing for that enhancement issue as well. Okay. So right.
Yeah.
So basically, it's you update cap, but mainly for this one. For this one, we actually will stay in, right? So this is staying.
Yep. I don't plan any changes.
30, so we don't need to change it, but updated cap. Okay, all right. So now I think we should be clear now. No, okay. So then we have a few items for CSM migration. Oh, okay. Actually, I forgot. Did we already remove the entry plugin? I forgot. We have,
yes.
right? We have. That's that's last release, isn't it? We did it. We did in this release. Last release, right? There was a
yes.
Okay.
So shall we just delete the row?
Okay, yeah, but let's remove it. It's confusing. Let me just, I will just cross out now, just and then you can just remove it. And this one too, right? Azure? All right.
Yes.
I'll just remove that. Okay. So no, I don't have to. Okay, those two. And then this, the next two will remove 1.31. And okay, Portworx. Yeah, so they want to target on by default 1.30. So Grant has updated that there will be a new owner, and the new owner will be working on this. So I don't think they have updated cap yet, but he said he will pin the new owner to work on this. Okay. Okay, so next one, always owner reclaim policy. So we are talking beta. So Deepak is looking at this. So this updating cap and working on test on this. And next one. And then, oh, actually, I think this one we should probably say, okay, maybe I'll mark that as started when he submitted PR. Oh, actually, I should say started because I think there is a PR submitted already. It's just it needs some other information there. I'll just mark this as started. And then voting attributes class staying alpha in 1.30. So do we have any update for this one? Is Sunny on the call? Hey.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have some quota stuff. Like there is a PR out, and then we were having some trouble with the alpha test passing. And like there are just a few things that we are trying to get in. And also Michelle suggested us to add the actual function test with CSI driver host path.
Okay.
Are these issues in the tests independent? Like, are they indicative of a problem in the implementation itself, or is it just the way the tests are structured and we need to refactor that in light of the current implementation? Like, I'm trying to understand if there's a problem in the code itself, or that requires us to revisit something, or is it just that the tests need to be modified to kind of account for the fact that things work differently now?
So the main thing is we just need, in order to go to beta, we need to have more test coverage, which we don't have right now.
Oh, I see. Okay.
We've done a number of manual testing, but we need to actually write the automated tests for it.
Got it. Are you looking for any help on this? We can have somebody from our side contribute on the end-to-end tests if needed.
Yeah, I think that would be useful. Maybe reach out to Sunny to coordinate.
Okay, sounds good.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. And then the next one is robust volume energy reconstruction. So, okay, yeah, this one is targeting GA, right?
Yeah, it's targeting GA. I checked the enhancement and I should just flip the feature guide if I understand it correctly. So
Okay, do you need to update the cap?
I submitted the cap update, of course. I tested downgrade upgrade scenarios that I promised, and cap is on review.
Okay, thank you.
It has started.
Great. Okay, so this one started.
Yeah, I just changed it. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. And next one, storage capacity scoring. Michelle, do you have any update about this?
No, this is blocked on me.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Next one is word expansion for C for SAD. Is Herman on the call? Or are we still the same status?
I think nobody is looking at it.
Okay, so still looking for volunteers then? Okay.
What exactly is the feature about here?
Oh, this is because we have volume expansion for individual volumes, right? But you cannot do it for state for set automatically. You have to kind of do some hacky menu stuff. So there's a cap trying to introduce this feature. So someone have been working on this, but then I think this person looks like we couldn't find the person who is working on this anymore. So we're looking for an owner for this one.
Got it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Next one, non-graceful no shutdown tests. So yeah, I have not heard from. Yeah, I have not. I pinged Ashtar, so I'm pinging again. And next one is auto delete PVCs with stateful set. So, Michelle, I don't know if Matt is on call. Are we moving to GA or are we still waiting or what is?
Yes, I think Matt is targeting GA.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I think actually 131.
Oh,
I
okay.
think there's a bug fix that he has to do in 130 and then target GA in 131.
Okay. So maybe we can cross out for now, then we can track this again.
Mm-hmm.
Next release. Okay. So we say, okay, thank you. Next one is add option to disable 6-minute force detach timer. This is a bug fix.
So I talked to Rohit about this.
Yeah, okay.
Thing. Yeah.
Oh.
He's still working on it.
Oh, okay.
He was blocked. He couldn't figure out how to test something. I helped him get past that. So he's back to pushing this through.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. And okay, so next one, cozy overall, move to beta. Yeah, so so right now the team has started to look at the E2E tests. So let's start to E2E and sanity tests. Right. I don't think the cap is being updated yet, so I will pin Sid. And next one is the CSS sidecars, all in one. Is Marisha here? Oh, Michelle, do you know what is the status for this?
This is probably on hold. I don't think Mauricio will have time to really look into this.
Okay, let's stay on hold. Maybe we can just cross this out for now, or you want to still leave it here?
We can cross it out.
I think this may be something that we may be interested in driving if there is interest in the community to kind of converge on a single sidecar model. So what I can say is maybe at some point in the next few weeks, we can evaluate this and maybe try to move things along a little bit further and see if folks are interested in the approach that that we're thinking about and take it from there.
Cool.
Yeah, that'll be great. I would suggest syncing up with Mauricio to kind of get up to speed on the latest status.
Yeah, I can't promise yet when we'll be able to get to it, but it is something that I think will be beneficial. I think right now, for a variety of reasons, having 6 sidecars is not ideal. So if we can converge on a single one, then I think that would solve a lot of problems. So,
Yep, I definitely agree.
okay, great. So I will I'll circle back and we'll figure out when we can take a look at it and let you know. So
great, thank you.
Thanks. Next one, voting populators. This is trying to move it to GA. So Michelle, you said the targeting 1.31, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so maybe we can just cross it out for now and then we add it back in 1.31. Next one is the controlling mode conversion between source and target PVC. Yeah, so we are moving this to GA. So Ronak is working on CAP update. Okay, so okay, maybe I'll mark this as started when I see the PR. So that's all we have on this spreadsheet. All right. Now, going back to the agenda, there are, oh, okay, so I see there is a color added, this request to review, dedicate job for, this is for the voting attributes, okay. All right, so we can take a look. All right, so we'll take a look of this. Thanks. Let's see. So, okay, so Sunny. Okay, so we got everybody got a sign here. Okay, that's cool. Now we have a couple of more issues here that we want to discuss. George, can you talk about this?
Yeah. First of all, hello to everybody. I'm Jorge from Queda, and I work as a SRE in Lidl. And the point here is that we have noticed that the CSI secret store driver has a limitation in the upstream. If the upstream is down, ports are blocked because the CSI driver requires the volume mode, which makes sense. But when I went to the CSI team, they suggest me to come here as they understand that the CSI should accept nullable or optional volumes like secrets or config map already support. So I'm here, I'm not quite sure about what I am asking about, because I guess that the component should handle errors internally, but they suggested me to come here to request making the CSI integration optional.
Yeah, so you and I had a conversation on the Slack thread. I think that the underlying problem is real, right? That you can have secret stores that are like multi-zonal, with where one zone can fail and the others can survive. And if you want to have a highly available application, you want to be able to get the secret, across zones. And so the request to make the mount optional really just pushes the problem from the CSI driver up into the application, right? Because what'll happen is if you have a CSI driver that only supports a zone at a time and your zone is down, then when you try to start your pod, the secret will not be there, and it'll become the application's problem to figure out what to do. And my opinion on this is, like, this should be the CSI driver's problem to solve, right? We don't want applications to have to deal with the possibility that parts of the infrastructure can be down when the CSI driver can hide that fact from them. The idea of an optional mount makes sense if we want to expose the problem to the application. And I just don't think this is a problem we should expose to the application. I think it's a temporary shortcut. And so the long-term fix, I think, is CSI drivers should just do this internally. And the short-term workaround is, if an application wants to solve this problem on its own, it should directly interact with the secret store, not go through the CSI driver, and rely on that. So if we want to push the application up to we want to push the problem up to the application, we can do that today, just by not using the secret store driver and having it directly contact the secret store. So that's That's my stance on this, is that we should not make mounts optional just to work around this short-term problem.
I guess my question is like, what would, in this particular case, like, what would your workload do if it couldn't get those secrets?
In our case, we basically mount secrets using the secret CSI store driver. And if they would be optional, we could handle them in the same way as if we mount secrets directly from secrets API, which is already optional. Basically, our application could try to load secrets from different places as fallback, just updating the last value if there is any value. Like I don't know in all the languages because I primarily go work with .NET with C#, but we can create a configuration pipe, like read first this folder, then this folder, then this one, and just update if there is something more specific. That's the approach. In my opinion, this should be handled in the CSI secret driver. That's the truth. But they suggested me to come here because they think that should be handled at CSI level in the SIG store. And that's why I'm here.
I guess the thing is for the optional secrets and config maps mount that we have today, it's optional in the sense that we will skip it if it doesn't exist. But I don't think we actually skip the mounts if, say, there's like a network error and we can't load the secret. So I think there is some nuance there in terms of like the error scenarios that the current secret optional mount supports. And so I don't think it would actually solve this particular scenario where, say, there's like a transient error.
Well, it would, if you had two different secrets and the application knew to try one and then try the other, and
yeah, but I'm saying,
but it still, it pushes the problem up to the application, which doesn't seem like a good design.
So but I'm saying the current like in-tree secret volume driver that we have today, the optional flag only is in effect if, say, we look at the secret and those keys do not exist in the secret. Like that's the scenario where we allow it to be optional. But if, say, we had an error loading the secret because the API server was down or something, like we would still block the mount and fail until it's available.
Yeah. I think we want the API, which is that optional flag, to express an intent on the user's from the user that the secret really is optional, they don't need it, and that they're willing to like live without it. In this case, the user really does need the secret, and they're just trying to use the optionals as a workaround for. And it just doesn't seem. It seems like a pollution of the API for a concern that should have been handled at a lower level.
Yeah, I think I would agree with you there.
Okay.
So I see here is that you opened a feature request. Basically, we just need to wait for this one then.
The point is that at least the person who I talked with directly pushed me to the SIG storage. That's the only option that he gave to me, or do it by myself.
Yeah, it sounds like the maintainers of this driver just don't want to fix the bug, and I don't know what we can do about that.
No, I'm being honest. I'm here just to check the task and going back to there. That's my. I'm here just because maybe I was missing some important point. The CSI is not my contribution area, so I could have several knowledge gaps. But in my opinion, it's quite clear that it's the component who should handle its own error.
Okay. All right. So you're going to go back, I guess, to talk to them then?
Okay, thanks. I really appreciate your contributions and your time. I'm sorry
All right.
for this.
Hey, thank you.
Could you write down the conclusion
Yeah.
there? Or-
Yeah, so
Thanks. I
the
really
issue,
appreciate
I'll
it.
just add, okay. Open issue. Okay. I'll just say this is Ben, Michelle, does this look good? You want to add anything else here?
Hold on, I'm looking on my phone. I've got to zoom in.
I just say conclusion is the CSI driver should handle this failure.
The
Well,
expected.
I mean, yes. I mean,
Okay.
you could also call it a feature, right? The CSI driver should implement high availability or multi-zone support or something. Yeah, it's a feature that should be done down at that layer.
Thanks.
All right, thank you. Okay, so next is I brought this question back again about the CPT feature, right? So we talked about this last time, whether we should create a new repo for it or should we add it to the existing external snapshot repo. So we discussed about this in the other meetings and I have different opinions. So I just want to talk about this again and see if we can have a conclusion here, right? So basically, if we use the existing external snapshot or repo, we add the CPT feature there. I think Ben, right? The concern is how do we differentiate between the GA feature and this new feature? And then when we add version, it's going to be, you know, we can't start with 1.0, it's going to be like 6 something. Should we only add stable features to the consolidated CSI car repo in the future? Because that's one thing, right?
Yeah, my opinion is we should have both experimental and stable features in the same repo, but make it feature gated and clear that these, experimental features are off by default and such.
Mhm.
Well,
It's
but
just
wouldn't we want to
easier
merge?
from a maintenance perspective to have fewer repos. Like we're really struggling right now with supporting all like 10 different repos right now.
So I think I agree with Michelle about the fact that having multiple repos is a problem. But it seems like in this particular case, this is almost like a new set of capabilities that might be better to just develop in isolation from the rest of the existing infrastructure because I think from a maintainability perspective and also from the perspective of customers potentially enabling these capabilities, it might be a challenge if not all drivers provide support for this infrastructure yet. Like, I think if we were at a point where 2 or 3 providers were supporting this capability right off the bat, then I don't see any problems in terms of doing it. I think until we get to that point, it might be useful to still have it as a part of a separate repo and then build it and then include it later on. But I mean, that's just my take. So,
Like, I guess the main thing is if we want to get to the state where we end up developing, only maintaining one repo for all our sidecars, I think we're going to have to start solving that problem of how do we develop new features and experimental features. So I think it's a problem we have to solve, and I don't know if we really want to put it off now and keep on putting it off.
Well, but I mean, if we had made any progress at all towards consolidating the repos, I might agree that. I mean, I know we had the conversation about it, but then nothing has happened. I'm afraid that what will happen is everything will just start going into the snapshotter repo, and the other ones will remain separate forever. That might be the outcome here if we say yes to using the snapshotter repo.
yeah, I mean, I think for smaller features, it would not be a problem at all. I think this sounds like a big enough capability with like enough changes from what the external snapshotter does today to kind of warrant doing a little more work to ensure that we can deploy it smoothly. And I do agree that I think we have to start thinking about how to move towards a unified sidecar model in the future. But this one seems like a big one to solve right off the bat. So one question that I have is how much work would it be to bring it in later if we have to do that?
You bring to beta?
No, like to merge it into the external snapshot code
How much
repository.
work?
Yeah.
Well, you can
Like-
always add, you can add a separate folder. It's going to be a different container.
Okay, so if we do decide to bring it in later, we don't anticipate that it would be a lot of work. It would just be the fact that it's all coming in at one point, right?
What do you mean by bring it later?
Like if we decide to include it as part of the external snapshot functionality, like as a part of the same.
If we add it to external snapshot, that we just need to make sure that everything's isolated in one repo. That will be like we build it separately. There's a flag controlling that. You can't. It's not on by default. Just make sure that nothing is shared. Basically, try to make sure nothing's shared between that code and everything else. It's
Okay.
it definitely will affect the build. That will take longer. But I guess it's doable if it just just say this is completely separate. We try.
Okay, so you're saying it's part of the build environment, like it's the same repository, but it won't be part of the same container image, essentially.
It's not going to be the same. No, I will not. I don't think we should let that happen. It should just
Okay.
it's going to be a same.
Okay.
So it's going to be it's like right now we do have several images in, like when we build a snapshot, right? There are actually 3 images right now. So this will be if we do this in the same repo, it's going to be the 4th image. We'll try to separate that as much as possible. Try not to,
Okay, got it. So
try not to share the same code as much as possible.
Okay, so if that's the case, then I think my concerns don't apply, because I was thinking more from the perspective of customers who might accidentally, like maybe not accident, who turn this on and then find that stuff doesn't work and then they file bugs against the driver saying, hey, this feature is not supported or something like that. So it's unlikely that that would happen.
Okay. So they can still enable it if they, that's the flag, but they have to go change the default to be, on, right? So by default, it will be disabled. If they go change it, then they will enable that. But if we just try not to, at least I don't want this to affect the existing volume snapshot feature, which is already GA, right? So definitely we don't want the code to be kind of added on top of that in the same controller, then that will be very, very messy. So we want to just completely separate the code. It's in the same repo, but going to be in different folders or something, not to share anything.
Okay, then I'm okay with whatever we decide makes sense. So I think Ben's point is valid though.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If we had a versioning scheme that still supported some concept of alpha beta GA within a larger things, we could say like, okay, the CSI sidecar repo is version number 1.25, or like Kubernetes, where it just marches forward. But like this particular feature is alpha and this particular feature is beta, and we did versioning in a way that was compatible with that. I think that in the past our versioning scheme has been based on the CRD APIs in the repo and bumping the version every time the APIs change, and we could not continue to do that if we adopted this new scheme.
So this will be going to be, we won't really have like a different version, like 6 dot something or 7 dot, you can have this one as 1.0, the other one is 6.0, right? Because they are in you basically release the same client, the same API.
Right. Well, we would have to come up with a whole new versioning scheme. That's what I'm saying. Like,
what do you mean by that?
Right.
I think that's possible. We can do alpha beta, like, so alpha beta, that's possible. That's something we can do, right? Like we can.
No, like because the tag, the way you do a version is you tag the Git repo, right? And so the tagging is going to be across everything in the repo. So if you're building multiple containers or multiple artifacts out of a given repo, they will all have the same version.
It will be same. Yeah, that will be the same. I don't think that can be separated.
But so what I'm saying is we have to change our strategy
I don't think
versioning.
But if that's the case, then that's like we are like releasing 2 clients, one for the rest of the API. One, I don't think that makes sense, right? But I don't think that will work.
No, I'm saying we'd have to go to a versioning scheme like Kubernetes has, where the version is just marches forward every 4 months or whatever the release cadence is.
Same thing, right? So we are doing the same version. It's going to move forward, like Kubernetes keep adding alpha features, but you're moving forward. You're not saying, oh, this one feature start with 0 dot something, 0.1 or something, right?
Right. Yeah, I'm saying we would not do that
version, huh? I'm sorry. What?
I think we're agreeing. But like we would have to write down what the new strategy is and then follow that strategy, because we've been doing something different up to now.
I don't think we're doing anything different other than we don't have this alpha beta stable thing, but I think in external provisioner, it actually uses the upstream feature gate. So we can use the same thing. We can use that in external snapshotter as well. So it's going to have this alpha beta stable thing for new API or for new feature. But the version will be the same. I don't think we can have like different version for different APIs, different set of,
Right.
You're releasing right.
We have been relying on the ability to have different versions for different sidecars up to now. So like if a sidecar made a major change, we would bump the major version for that one sidecar and not touch anything else. And if a sidecar didn't change at all over a 4-month period, we would just not even bump the version.
Right. So I think that we still need to follow the same thing, right? So this feature
Well,
If it's
but if we
alpha,
put everything in a repo, the version is just going to increment by how much it increments, regardless of how much changes in each individual sidecar.
right, that will be, it's still the
And
same sidecar.
that will be new. That'll be new.
Yeah,
Why?
I think the point, Ben, that you're making is that up until now, whatever strategy that we've been following for sidecar versioning, that doesn't really work once we combine everything into like a single repository, because
Right.
Oh yeah, are you saying that? Okay, yeah, but this one is still okay. I was talking about the snapshot, or just it's going to go, moving forward. But yeah, the consolidated one, I don't know what is our version. I think there was some probably that's in that proposal. I forgot what is the details.
Yeah, so
how
I
do you-
think that would probably be a problem that we should solve as part of the unification sidecar.
Yes. Yeah. That's my point. Is
Okay.
we can't just start sharing repos without solving that problem.
Yes,
We have to
I
we
agree.
have to figure out what the answer is, and then implement the answer.
Yes, and I think from that point of view, it makes sense to have this live separately for now, and then solve that problem as part of the unification proposal. And assuming that we can arrive at consensus on that approach, that's what we should follow, and that's how these changes should get included in the unified site.
And when it comes to unifying everything in a unified repo, I'd rather we start with the most stable stuff first and save the least stable stuff for last.
Yeah, I agree.
Michelle, do you remember how, I actually forgot how we decided to how do we version? Let's say we have this consolidated repo. I believe it's already in that proposal, but I forgot. Like, how are we going to start the versioning? We start with 1.0 with everything, or?
Yeah, I think we just start with 1.0 and go, but like
unified sidecar
when-
1.0.
Yeah, but like when to bump the major and when to bump the minor, I don't think we're proposing anything different than what we already do today, right? So with the unified repo, if any of the sidecars makes something we consider a breaking change, then we will bump the major version.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, at the end of the day, if all of that code is in a single repository, if there is a breaking change, then yes, you have to bump up the major version.
And if we start putting experimental stuff in that same repo, there will be a breaking change every single time, because that's what experimental means, right?
Well, so we actually have this policy written out on our CSI sidecar driver page, and we exclude alpha features explicitly from the major version bump.
Interesting.
So
the idea would
anything we call alpha, it can break even if we don't bump the major version. And this is a similar policy that the Kubernetes project follows too.
Yeah, I think alpha is pretty much do it at your own risk kind of thing. So
the only other, I guess, thing I don't understand then is for things, for repos that have CRD definitions, like all of the snapshot CRDs that are in the snapshot of repo, when we moved those from beta to GA, we did a major version bump, even though it was backwards, the changes were backwards compatible, right? We just changed V1 beta 1 to V1. But we did a major version bump on the repo when we did that. I don't understand why and how we would handle that similar situation in the future.
So we do, but if it's like, but when it moved to beta, do we actually do a major version
Nope.
bump?
Going from alpha to beta. Go ahead.
Sorry, so there were two things. One is, so there's like, breaking change, which is like something won't work anymore. Like that could happen when we remove beta support. So that would cause a major version bump. The other thing that we said would qualify for a major version bump is if we require new RBAC rules. And so I think that's where like introducing the beta API could have caused a major version bump.
But
I
somehow we
think-
had five major version bumps with snapshotters.
Yeah,
right?
maybe we have to go back and look, but I think promoting from beta to GA, I don't think would have triggered a major version bump. Well, unless it required new RBACs. If it required new RBACs, then it would have.
Yeah, we have to check. I
So
don't
so
know.
I guess this is the thing I want to think through is if we're going to have a unified repo and we're going to have a versioning strategy, how do we avoid having 5 major version bumps for something like the snapshotter, right? Because that's what happened with the snapshotter is we ended up with 5 major version bumps as we went from alpha to GA, and
I mean,
it seems like a lot.
I
That
guess
could
the
be the
main,
RBAC rule change. Yeah, that could be.
yeah, I guess like it's our definition of like our intent with major version bumps is to notify people that, hey, there is some action required before you upgrade to this version. And we included having to require new RBAC rules as part of that. We
Yeah.
could potentially debate whether or not we think, new RBAC rules should count or not. But I think that inclusion or criteria has been the cause for most of the major version bumps that we've done.
Okay. Well, it's reasonable to expect that will keep happening in a unified repo if we're developing new features in that
Yes.
unified repo.
I mean, it would happen even in the separate sidecars for any new feature that has new APIs.
Yeah. So I mean, we just want to make sure our versioning scheme then is compatible with possible frequent major version bumps as people develop new features.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have only 3 minutes left. What is the conclusion for this? So maybe we should just revisit we do have those written down. When do we bump the version? Maybe we should just revisit that again, and then look at if we add this in external snapshotter, what will happen?
I think we're all in favor of merging things together. Someone needs to do that work. I still have the stance that like an experimental thing should be the last thing that gets merged in with other repos. Like until we have multiple stable things all releasing out of a single repo, like let's not add experimental stuff on top of that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think we should decouple the work for unifying the repositories from the work needed to merge the changes for the backup capabilities, change log tracking capabilities. So I would say let's keep it separate for now, and then let's have something at least so that we have a clear path forward as to how things would work in the new model, and then at that point we can evaluate when it makes sense to bring that.
Okay, so you still prefer to have a separate repo for?
Yeah, that would be my preference.
I agree.
Okay, so Michelle, Yang, are you okay with that? Have a separate repo for now then if we have if there's a consolidated repo, if we have made some progress with that, and then we can look at bring it together.
Like, I'm not happy, but it's usable.
Yeah, I guess the main thing is with a separate repo, we need to make clear like who's going to be the owner and responsible for releasing and also doing things like the CVE updates and things like that. That's the main thing, because right now I think whenever we do releases, it's kind of like the three of us are handling all of the repos, and I don't think we have the capacity to add more repos to our list.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. All right. So, oh, yeah.
I was just going to say, maybe in the short term, we can help out with the CVE handling stuff and mitigate that pain a little bit uh, until we get to a point where we have a clear path forward on the unified proposal.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you. All right, we are running out of time. Thank you for all those great discussions. Okay, we'll meet again in 2 weeks. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.